Well, glory be and mercy me. We've done it yet again. Here we are. Daily walk around the graveyard. Today, we are going to be talking about Jagmeet Singh. Uh, he has made headlines today because of his statements regarding corporate wealth, the corporate wealth that was made during the pandemic. His position is that we should tax the gains that the corporate power structure has made over the course of the pandemic, and we should distribute it into the populace. Uh, a fine idea for a incrementalist liberal to say, right? This is why I keep saying that the actual Liberal Party right now in Canada is the NDP, that the Liberal Party is actually an extreme far-right party since their passage of the Emergency Measures Act, the most extreme far-right act done in Canada since World War II, with the Conservative Party being the Conservatives, right? So the NDP, I keep thinking to myself, Jagmeet, why don't you just support a basic income? Why isn't this guy coming out and actually saying out loud to everyone, hey, we should do a basic income. You know what we should do? We should create a floor, right? We know where the poverty line is. We, the government of Canada, actually set the poverty line. We know where it is. We keep talking about the poverty line. We keep talking about how do we get people over the poverty line. Well, you know what a good way to actually get people over that poverty line would be to create a basic income that says you literally can't fall below this poverty line. You just can't, right? It's just not possible for a citizen of Canada to live below the poverty line. And of course, all of the counters to this only make sense if you're a simp for capital, right? Like if you're literally like, won't people just be lazy? You mean won't people will just stop working for shitty people and shitty owners who don't give a shit about them at all? Yeah, that's a feature, not a bug, right? That's the point. And it's the number one reason why something like a basic income is never going to get passed until things get so desperate that we surround the halls of power, like I always say on this channel, and threaten the power structure to actually do it, which is what's going to be necessary because we have fake progressives and faux sort of liberals like Jagmeet Singh in power, pretending as though they give a shit about the populace while making deals to prop up the very people they're saying they should be defeating, right? Like, there's a reason why even people within the Sikh community, as has been reported and widely ignored by the media, there's a reason why people within the Sikh community are confronting Jagmeet Singh and saying, hey, what's going on, right? There's a reason why we're constantly in this state where we're not making any gains whatsoever. And most importantly, there's a reason why the NDP get completely shellacked here in Ontario, right? Which, and will be completely shellacked federally. There's a reason why in the last election the NDP don't really make any gains. There's a reason why the NDP appear to have stalled in their tires. There's a reason why everybody holds their hand to their heart and thinks about Tommy Douglas, right, the greatest Canadian, and pine for the Jack Layton days. It's because the NDP used to be a party of socialism. It used to be a party that stood in front of you and said, capitalism is a problem. We've got to transition away from it. We've got to focus on socialist ideas. And here's some socialist ideas that work and are effective, right? This is how the NDP used to speak. Now they're couching everything they say in this pathetic reformist incrementalist liberalism. There's the socialism is dead in the NDP, and Jagmeet Singh is proof positive. He doesn't care. And he doesn't care to such a degree that even when he stands up and says, hey, we should do a policy that sounds an awful lot like a basic income, tax the wealthy, give the money to the people, right? He won't call it. He won't give it a name. He won't say why that we need to do this. He's simply regurgitating language that is coming from the meager base who is still clinging on to the hope that the NDP will actually respond rationally and return to its socialist roots. But that's not going to happen. Jagmeet Singh is a wealthy lawyer from Brampton who has strong ties to organizations like the World Economic Forum, right? He is, at best, a junior partner in the Liberal Party. And I honestly believe of him that he doesn't really want to be the Prime Minister, or certainly he doesn't expect to be the Prime Minister. I think that he is happy being the leader of the NDP. I think that's his goal. I think that's what he wants to be. And I think that's what he's getting. He wants to be this junior partner in the Liberal Party as the leader of the NDP. That's precisely what's going on. And in the meantime, while all of that is occurring, majorities of the populace, and it's a thin majority, but a majority nonetheless, it's like 58% to 42%, are fine with it. Are fine with this arrangement where we don't actually have a socialist option. We don't actually have anybody talking about socialism. We don't actually have anybody on the stage saying that the system of capital itself is a problem, right? And I find that to be considerably odd. I find it to be very odd that the same people who pine for the Tommy Douglas days and who pine for the Jack Layton days seem to be completely fine when this new breed of NDP sells them out entirely to the extreme far-right party in the country, which is the Liberals. It seems extraordinarily strange to me, and I feel like we should be demanding better of these people. I feel like we should be demanding better of someone like Jagmeet Singh. And I feel like if Jagmeet Singh wants to actually galvanize the public, and wants to actually get them on his side, and wants to actually get into a position where he can actually strike to be the leader and to actually get change in this country, then he's got to put a name to these things, goddammit. I'm so sick and tired of having to say this to these weak NDPers. If you don't name your enemy and actually give name to the solutions to defeat the enemy, no one's going to support you. No, if you're not strong enough to actually say the problem is capitalism, no one's going to support you. If you're not strong enough to actually say we have to do serious at least reforms of this system, like the basic income, no one's going to take you seriously, because you're not actually generating a real conversation. You're just saying, to what degree should we allow the oligarchs to dominate our lives? That's all you're saying to us. That's all we hear. That's all we believe from you, right? And I'm not even talking about the massive crisis of climate change that we've created for ourselves. Like, for God's sakes, we need a war economy. We need a war economy. These are the words that must be said to the populace, to snap them out of their torpor, to get them to actually give a shit about what's going on in politics. You've got to say the words, war economy, basic income, because we no longer believe you. And for God's sakes, if Doug Ford has proven anything to us, it's that people respond to slogans, right? They don't respond to policy. They don't respond to long-winded issues, incremental reformism. They respond to slogans. Well, here's a slogan. We need a war economy. If we don't transition our economy into a war economy in order to confront the deep catastrophe of capitalism, then we are going to ram into it face first with no plan and just explode on it as a people. That's precisely where we're heading. And what's our higher up people telling us? Oh, we'll tax the wealthy like 1% and give the money to people and that should be fine, right? No. Fuck no. It's time for the NDP to grow a spine. It's time to grow a backbone. It's time to name who the enemy is, and the enemy is capitalism itself. And it's time to actually start talking about how we transition away from it with things like a basic income and by building a war economy to fight the enemy of climate change that capitalism has created for us. I don't think this should be hard for us to say, but it seems to be the most impossible thing in the world. And until I actually hear these words coming out of Jagmeet Singh's mouth, then he's the weakest leader the NDP has ever had. Hands down, bar none, and we shouldn't support him. All right, this is the end of this video. All right, guys, like, share, subscribe. YouTube and all of these social media guys are cleansing their platforms of leftists. Danny Haifong recently got a week-long suspension for pointing out the truth of the Tiananmen Square massacre. You're seeing more and more leftists are just getting censored from these platforms. It won't be long until I'm removed from these platforms. So please like, share, subscribe while I'm still around. Consider donating to the Patreon, right? If you donate to the Patreon, you get into the Discord, right? That gives you a permanent connection to the community that we're building. It's a very active community. They help me out a lot with research, with knowing what's going on in the world, with talking, with reporting. So thank you guys, and please consider donating to the Discord. Get involved. And ultimately, guys, you're a quantum being, right? Walking around in quantum energy. These billionaires are spending hundreds of billions of dollars in the hopes that you'll never realize it. You'll just stay the good little commodity they need you to be. Rebel. Revolt. Repent. Good luck. We're gonna need it.